I sing along to the entrance almost every time in the studio. Welcome to episode 12 of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Jim Viscardi, and with me, as always, is Megan Peters.
Hello.
Someone who is not here, though, Christian Hoffer. Christian had a emergency work training, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, but see, while we missed Christian, we decided to instead, if you were watching the video of this podcast,
we've replaced him with Pikachu.
We have put Detective Pikachu here beside me. He is our moderator, so if we get out of line, Pikachu will just give us a solid little zap, and we know we've crossed the line.
I just want to say, Christian was all set to have like an all-Christian episode
He was
of
so
the show
ready.
because we're going to Comic-Con this week.
Yes.
And guess who's not here this week? Christian.
He's biding his time. This is his protest, and then one day when we're just unable, he's just going to come in full Bulbasaur propaganda. He had a whole Twitter campaign.
Yeah, Twitter campaign, just being like, it's going to be an all-Christian show. Anyway, if you're new to this show, as we go off on a tangent, we post new episodes every Thursday. So if you find, you can find it anywhere podcasts are found: iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, RSS feeds, on the website. Anywhere podcasts can be found, you can find this show. If you're new still, we break the show down in two ways. We do a bunch of quick hit news items in the first half, and then we sort of open it up for a discussion part after the break, being whatever the big news or drama is of the week.
Yes.
There's a lot of fun stuff in the quick news hit section
Yes.
this week, which I thought was fun. I added a few things on here that you don't know about, so we're going to see.
Ooh, you're going to test my knowledge? I mean, I suggested a few things.
You suggested a few things. I only added two other things that I saw as I was going by.
Yes.
Then, at the very, very end, Christian's not here, but he has supplied us. This is the fan favorite segment of the week, the Pokemon Fact. And sometimes it's gross, sometimes it's cute, sometimes it's fun.
Forewarning, this one's terrifying.
This one's gross.
I researched it. I was legitimately stunned.
Yeah.
I felt uncomfortable.
But we'll get into that, because as I was looking into it, there's a weird thing that happens as you look sort of throughout the games that this Pokemon is in.
Yes.
So we'll discuss that.
Stay tuned.
First things first, the final Pokemon of the starter trilogy finally has his Funko Pop.
Finally.
Squirtle.
The Squirtle squad is coming.
I thought Squirtle would have been one of the first ones.
I just think kind of based on the Pokedex, they probably were just trying to go numbers. Yeah, because Bulbasaur's one, because obviously Hoffer is
Charmander's
just
2.
repping that real hard.
Right.
The only thing I'm disappointed, if you've seen pictures of this Squirtle Funko, I mean, they all look lifeless. Bulbasaur,
The eyes are just these just black
Yeah.
dots that are just they're all very Coraline-esque.
Yes, Bulbasaur objectively looks the best, even though I'm not on this kick that Hoffer has been on for the last 20 some odd years of his life. But I will say, I was mainly disappointed with Squirtle because it wasn't the Squirtle Squad sunglasses.
That's
Squirtle from the
know that is coming as a con exclusive somewhere.
Whatever con it is, unfortunately, it's probably going to be a Pokemon Go event, community day exclusive. You have to go to one of those Pogo Fests, and I'm going to be I guess I'm going to go to London because I have to get this little Funko figure. So
see, I thought your issue with the Squirtle Pop is way different than mine. His body to me feels too skinny.
Yeah,
he's a turtle, and he feels like he's almost got a skinny body shape, almost kind of like Pikachu has.
Yeah.
Which is just a little weird because his head is obviously big and bulbous and whatnot. But.
Well, I was kind of thinking about it, just objectively the character designs, Bulbasaur, big head. Charmander, also a big head compared to its body.
True.
But Squirtle, his body is
round.
bigger than his head, originally. But the whole point of Funkos is it has a bigger head than the body.
Yeah.
So this one just naturally didn't make a great fit for Funko to start with. So yeah, I'm just it just needed to be sized up. I'm still always upset that the Pikachu Funko that they have isn't Fat Pikachu from the original games. That's what I wanted. But who knows?
But it
Edition.
is still very adorable.
Oh, it's adorable. They always also, in my opinion, look a little bit better when they're the mega-sized Funkos.
I just saw the big Pikachu one the other day. That one is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's something about it when they look a little bit bigger that there's some reason.
The Charmander one is still probably my favorite.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah, it looks even its eyes, even though they're a little lifeless, it still works a little bit better than the others. I'll be curious to see what they do now since they've done the starters. Right. Will they do other starters? Or are they just going to start going through the whole original Pokedex?
I don't think what I imagine they will probably do is go through some of the more popular ones, but also the ones that maybe showed up in like Detective Pikachu. So I feel like we would get a Psyduck before anything else, or kind of the same model that like Build-A-Bear's taking, right?
Yeah, give us all the EVs.
Yeah, like we'll get an Eevee next, for sure. We'll get a Jigglypuff because that one's probably easy to make and it's a fun mold for them to do. Psyduck, Jigglypuff, and Eevee, I think.
Yes.
If I were to guess,
yeah,
we're definitely getting one, if not two of those three, relatively soon.
The only thing I request from Funko, if you're listening, which you should be, is make a flocked Eevee. I freaking love the flocked Funkos. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting, and I wonder if this is more a result of the Pokemon Company or a Funko thing. We haven't really gotten variants yet.
No.
Right? So, like, I would have expected an Ash's Pikachu by now, and we have not gotten that. We just got Pikachu, we got Big Pikachu, then we got Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and, like, that's it. Like, they're showing an outrageous amount of restraint. Because if it was me, I would just be like, start making these things like crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure the people at Funko want to, but I'm wondering if there was kind of the mandate of let's get all the starters out and see how they're received and like kind of get that test out there and done. Because I mean, Funko, I feel like if they had the ability, they would be cranking them out.
Yeah, so like the fact that like there wasn't a movie line for Detective Pikachu, or there's not a Mewtwo, potentially on its way. Well, I mean, maybe they do a Mewtwo for when that movie inevitably hits the States. But
yeah, I'm just curious to know whether Pokemon's been just like collecting the data to figure out, all right, what's next, or like secretly doing undercover stolen Facebook data polls about who's your favorite Pokemon.
But I feel like the model, if anything, that they would follow is probably that Build-A-Bear model. Because and I say that because Build-A-Bear is probably the only real third-party manufacturer of Pokemon goods that has a sense of collectability to them.
Yeah.
They don't get pumped out, like crazy. So who knows?
Yeah. All I want is
spend a lot of time on
again, whether you're new or old to this show, all I need is a Vaporeon pop.
You're not going to get that for like 40 years at this rate.
Honestly, I'm desperate enough. I'll buy a custom one. I don't care. I'll do it. Yeah. Watch me do it.
I mean, once they put that Eevee out, then it's it.
Yeah, once the Eevee's out,
no holds barred. Customizers are going to go nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be over that. So
there is big Pokemon Go news.
Yes.
Bigger than like we talked about the idea of it. I think it was last week. And it looked like some changes were coming, especially to the fight mechanics and things like that. And it looks like they're here.
Yeah, they're coming quick.
So some of the big changes are there's a new appraisal system that will tell you how strong your Pokemon are. A new charged move system for PvP battles. And timed swipes or timing swipes.
Yes. So I haven't actually been able to try any of these yet. The ones that I've seen most like video footage of, like on social media, has been the appraisal system, which I'm never one who usually uses. I'm more into Pokemon Go for the collectability sake, not necessarily for like the stats, etc.
Right.
But for everybody that I've seen, they're just so excited.
Pokemon Go squad.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. But I will say it is super handy that it's appraisal system. Like used to when you wanted to appraise your Pokemon, you had to swipe, appraise, exit, swipe, appraise, exit. Now you can just put up the appraisal function, just keep swiping, and it just automatically updates, which makes it so much quicker to kind of figure out like what your stats look like for, a selection of Pokemon. If you have like 7 Intays like I have.
I just need to know which one's the best one.
Yeah.
So I can get candy for the rest.
Yeah, like it makes it so much easier for me to be like, all right, here's my 7 Intays. Which one do I need to be walking right now? Or who do I need to be working on? So that's a super helpful function because for me wanting candies all the time, like I will be using that more so.
Right.
So
nice. The swiping mechanic to battles is good in theory.
Yes.
I think it may get real old real fast.
Yes. So since I haven't tested it yet, I'm not quite sure. All I know is, obviously Niantic kind of tested this function, the time swiping moves out with the Harry Potter game, if anyone remembers it, the Wizarding World game. And
when 12 of you that are playing.
When I first played that game, I could not figure out that function if I was in the AR mode. It was so confusing because you had to like look around and then it would appear and you would swipe and then you'd have to go back to the whatever Harry Potter thing you were trying to capture. So I'm curious. I never used the AR function when I played Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like a lot of people ditched that already, but I'm curious. To see
Only
if
good.
there's that
It's only good
difference.
for funny screenshots.
Yeah, or
it.
like when you're trying to get like those Snapchat specific Pokemon.
Right.
But I'm curious to see how that works.
Yeah. Well, and it's just so funny. So like last week, was it last week? Yeah, last week there was a Mewtwo in our building.
Yes.
An armored Mewtwo that
We all ran down.
There's a lot of people in our building complex
Yes.
that play Pokemon Go that we don't know, but we just know them as the Pokemon Go people.
They have a Facebook.
Oh, do they have a Facebook?
Yes, me and Roland joined.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Me and one of our gaming people, when we went down there, we
I need
missed
to
the
go.
Mewtwo raid, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we have a private like Facebook group that we coordinate these raids with during work." And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God. I need to
Let me
join
join.
that group.
"Yes, no, yeah," because I was like, "I want that armored Mewtwo."
But anyway, when you guys went down there, you notice like there's one dude who plays who's got like 4 phones.
Yes,
To me, that swiping mechanic,
yeah.
real hard if you're playing on 4 phones.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So I'm wondering if is the swipe. Since I don't
Yeah.
know much about it. Is it just for player versus player
Or
battles?
is it for
is it for
gyms or
raids
raids?
or gyms?
Yep.
Because
We'll have to look
like
into that.
when I go to like in Nashville, like the Centennial Park or the
Mm-hmm.
zoo, and I've gone to do raids with people. I mean, they're legitimately people who come out there and they'll have like a binder and they have like 6 or 8 phones.
That's insane.
And like they just legitimately like 2 fingers each are like tapping like they're playing the piano.
Oh my God.
And so like that's clearly not something you could do
Right.
with the swipe mechanic moves. But I think for like player versus player battles, like whenever I like play against like a friend of mine or my boyfriend or something, it's always just like we get like 3 matches in and we're like, oh, it's kind of boring and my thumb hurts because I've been tapping it so quick. So I'm curious to actually try it in practicality. I think at the very minimum it signals good things to come.
Yeah.
For Pogo, the re-innovation.
Yeah, I just like I said, I love that when Pokemon Go first came out, there was a ton of growing pains, like just a ton of growing pains. So much so that at one point, a lot of people sort of, I was like hit my microphone, kind of fell out of the game. A lot of people were frustrated that
Yes.
more Pokemon weren't being added, and then we had sort of this boon where like all of a sudden we were starting to we got more Pokemon, we got more events, and more things like that, and now we're in this spot where Niantic is in a position to add more features to the game in a way that makes things easier. So like the appraisal system, but also trying to figure out ways to get more people involved and like doing fun stuff, right? Like the whole Team Rocket thing, where like the Pokemon Twitter account and the Pokemon Go Twitter account had some fun banter back and forth on Twitter the other yesterday, I think, about the hot air balloon showing up in people's photos. So to see more of that definitely gets me more excited. Even as someone I would probably say I'm the most casual Pokemon Go fan. Like I will play it when I'm either waiting to pick my daughter up somewhere or whatever, just to see what's around, catch
Yeah.
the Pokemon. Like I am the most casual Pokemon Go player. But as more and more features stuff start to come out, I find myself opening it up more and more and more and more, and
Yeah.
caring more and more. So I appreciate that.
Yes. Good job, Niantic.
I want to do a little bit of a San Diego preview.
Yeah.
Because Detective Pikachu, for its home video release, will have a experience / whatever the hell those things are called at the show, and you know more about it than I do. So what are they doing?
Yeah, so basically, kind of between the convention center and one of the Bayfront hotel at San Diego Comic-Con, they're going to basically have an interactive like activation walkthrough experience.
Activation, that was the word I was
Where you could go through Rhyme City. Like they've basically like created a scale model of Rhyme City. So like the police department and I believe like the apartment that Tim and Pikachu first meet each other in. And I think they're gonna have like some artifacts from the laboratory in the
Oh,
film
cool.
where there was like Mewtwo.
Yep.
So they're gonna have like a basically little interactive walking experience where you can like enter places and like collect like free little goodies. And then at the end, from what I understand, they will have the big on rotation because it's gonna be hot. The Pikachu, Detective Pikachu mascot.
Oh, cool.
So you can go and
Right,
take pictures of Pikachu. And so this is all kind of in promotion for the Detective Pikachu
On home video.
Blu-ray, DVD, every kind of weird way you can get it digital. But a lot of fans have kind of gone online. They're being like, so what are the chances we get a sequel, like more information? Because before the film even came out, they said, we're already, in development on a sequel. We're going to keep pushing this franchise along, but that's been the only information to come out since.
Is there any cool swag?
So I'm not sure exactly if there's any exclusive swag, but I'm pretty sure they're giving out like lanyards, which I always appreciate getting. And then, some like freebie goodies. And then like you can obviously get a picture with Detective Pikachu, which
It's really all that matters.
yeah, which, for us at the comic book office, we have our own Detective
That's right,
Pikachu.
we do. We do have our own
So,
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting experience, I guess, to kind of like walk through that city, which, I mean, if you've played the Detective Pikachu games, you'll have experienced in one way, or if you've seen the film and you're a fan of it, you'll be able to experience it another way. I'm just hoping that they have like a bunch of like Pokemon plushes that are all like around that I can just stare at and cry because they're so cute.
I was kind of hoping they would bring that Mewtwo in a tube that they have in that new Japanese Pokemon Center. Like that would be super freaking cool. But
Yeah, that is the big hope. I mean, I feel like if they're going to spotlight any Pokemon that's not Pikachu, it's going to be Psyduck or it's going to be Mewtwo. Yeah. And I mean, we've seen so much Psyduck with the promotions of this. If you're going to bring the film to San Diego Comic-Con and like reinvigorate interest in fans for social media,
especially for
coverage,
someone who is like the breakout star of the movie, in a sense.
Like you would want Mewtwo there. So I'm really excited to see what Mewtwo will happen. Also, the Mewtwo raids are still going to be going on during Comic-Con.
Oh god, so that's going to be
and so obviously at the San Diego Convention Center, there's gyms everywhere.
There's a ton.
So there's going to be a lot. I plan to come back with at least 5 or 6 armored Mewtwo's.
Jeez Louise.
Which I can now appraise even faster than before. I just like to get them out of the way. Also, a lot of my friends, and they're like, oh, you're going to be there? Oh, you can do raids? Can you get me an armored Mewtwo and we'll trade? And I'm like, I guess we'll see. So at least I can like hold it over their heads for a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
Excellent.
So, but yeah.
What is One Piece Pikachu?
Oh,
I shorthanded the note, so I may be totally butchering whatever this is.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
So in Pokemon Go, obviously, they've announced all sorts of different like tie-ins. They've had Team Rocket stuff for Pikachu, but now we get One Piece Pikachu. So
like official One Piece or like
it's official.
Bootleg? Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
All
It's
right,
official.
so explain what this is.
So basically, for anyone who's not aware of anime, One Piece is like the most popular, like anime manga of all time. It's about to beat Batman in sales for comic books. Basically, they've announced that in the hometown of One Piece's creator, Ichiro Oda, there's a statue of the main character of One Piece whose name is Luffy. That statue is being turned into a either gym or one of the attraction spots where you can get items from. And so in honor of that creation, they are now giving the ability for Pikachu to randomly appear between, I'm not sure what the time frame is, but he will have the straw hat. He will be officially wearing the straw hat in the game.
Okay.
That Luffy wears in One Piece, and that's become like the icon of that anime. And you can also get hats for your trainers as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can wear the straw hat that Luffy wears, which for fans was very unexpected.
Yeah,
no one expected it.
That
No
to
one
me
expected it.
feels like, I mean, I get it, right? Like One Piece is an enormous deal.
Yes.
In Japan, so it's kind of like that no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I almost wonder like who that goes through, right? Like, is that Niantic saying, "Hey, we want to do something like this. Can we make it work?"
Yeah.
Is that One Piece coming to the Pokemon company saying, "Hey, let's do something"? Is it the Pokemon company going to what? Like, it boggles my mind mainly because like in this sort of day and age, like IP loves to just sort of live in their own camps, and you don't really see this kind of crossover.
Right.
But this is great.
Yeah, I mean, Japan has always been a huge fan of collaborations, and so they, more so than anything in, I mean, Western pop culture, they will collaborate over anything. So it's definitely something that stemmed from the Japanese, IPs coming together to work. But like a couple weeks ago, they had a confirmed Naruto Boruto Easter egg of Pikachu in the anime. They had a Pikachu appear in the anime who had the haircut of Boruto Uzumaki.
Oh, right.
And its name was Boruto, and it had all the characteristics. And so to see those kind of crossovers, it's definitely encouraging, adds new life. All I know is when that was announced yesterday, I like messaged Hoffer and I was like, what? Is this for serious? Like, is this real? Or is this like a joke? And he's like, no, this is 100% real. And I was like, I have never wanted a Pikachu more in my life. Ever.
Forget Armored Mewtwo. I need that Pikachu.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. If I had to pick between one of the two I could catch, it would be One Piece Pikachu.
Nice.
For sure. So.
One of the ones that's a bit of a curveball, but I think you saw it this morning because I saw it trending on Twitter, was the shrink wrapped Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
This is a thing that you just need to see. There's really not much more to the story other than someone got a Pikachu that was just in shrink wrap. It's a brand new toy, but because for packing reasons and whatever, it just came in some shrink wrap. So someone hasn't opened it yet. But it is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
It's just, you just have to look it up. It's like smushed. His eyes are like bulging out because all the fur has been so like
pulled away from his face.
Back.
It's just like bad.
Like I feel like
surgery.
I need to like cover Detective Pikachu's ears right now. Like it is horrifying. And that's my favorite thing is like weird Pokemon packages because there's that like huge Snorlax beanbag you can buy.
Oh, right, exactly.
And when that first started shipping out in Japan, people could not get it in their apartments because Japan has like premium real estate. Hallways are small, they're short, they are not wide and big like they are in America, and people legitimately could not get the box through. And then when they opened it, it became so much worse because it was shrink wrap, and then they would open it, and there were just videos of this Snorlax exploding.
It's like if you've ever gotten a like a mattress in a box.
Yeah,
like that
it's
comes
exactly that.
super shrink wrap. That basically like there's so many warnings on opening it because like if you open it up the wrong way, like it will kill you.
It will explode. It's a pressure cooker basically.
Yeah, basically.
So like I don't know. I'm just like, okay, I understand what you did for Snorlax. That thing's huge, but why'd you have to do it to Pikachu? Like it's so cute, and that is so horrifying.
All right, one last thing before we get to our break. I wanted to mention only because for our trading card game players or TCGers
Yes.
out there, there are two new box sets coming out in August called Hidden Fates. They're coming out August 23rd that feature a new promo Mew card.
Yes.
And a promo Mewtwo card. There's also a badass Charizard in the background to one of the packages, which is pretty cool. It's just another release. I mean, it's I guess timed to the release of the movie in Japan, maybe.
I mean, the movie just came out in
All right,
Japan.
it came out already, so it's just out to be out.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, when does it come out again?
August 23rd.
I mean,
Maybe
that's
the
like a
Detective
little.
Pikachu
Yeah,
window.
kind of, and it's also like a little bit before eventually we're gonna get Sword and Shield. So it's
that's
just
true.
kind of a boost of, hey, we still love you, TCG players. I know
The
we're
Mew
really
the Mew
focused.
card's very cool.
The
Very
Mew
cool
card
looking,
looks
very
really
adorable.
cool. Yeah, so it's kind of a resurgence.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, when we come back, we have more details around the never-ending drama of Sword and Shield,
Never
its
ending.
models, and beyond.
Never
so
ending.
we'll hit that when we get back. Okay. So a big thing that has been an ongoing issue in the Pokemon community are two things, really.
Yes.
Not every Pokemon is, not every Pokemon is coming over into the game. And there's no national Pokedex. And there is concern over the animations. And it's kind of tied together, right? Because at first it was one of those things where they said, well, we can't bring every Pokemon in because we have to do new animations for everybody. But then everyone's like, well, these animations look like old animations. And so they had to come out and say, no,
Yes.
they are all being rebuilt.
Yeah.
There was a big Game Freak interview in Famitsu.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Famitsu.
Excellent. Where they came out and they said, it's all of the models needed to be redone. And so what I take from that is, while they may look similar, because I would imagine Game Freak has all the bones
Yes.
from the other games, and there's probably some translating, that needs to go on from a code standpoint to bring it into Sword and Shield. But it's not just like, oh, we're going to pick this code up, copy and paste it into the new code, and boom, you have an animation for a thing. Mainly because it's 2 different systems.
Yes.
So it has to be completely rewritten for the Switch. And when you look into the number of Pokemon that are going to be in that game to begin with, you're going to be able to share some stuff here and there, but there's a lot of new stuff being added. And so, yeah, it's going to take some time. This still doesn't make people happy.
No. So there's the thing with the Pokemon community right now is there's the people who are just irate, and that's respectable. Feel how you need to feel about this decision. It's a big change for the community, but they are kind of refusing to listen to what these creators are saying. I mean, this interview is a massive one, and they're talking about the real problems they had. I mean, they said they did not believe that Sun and Moon would have a national dex. They said they came real close to them having to just cut characters, and they said it was a immense challenge. And so now they're taking the idea of doing what they did on Sun and Moon, as well as adding this wild region and these characters, this higher frame rated animation. It's just not something the size of Game Freak can do under the process, like the time frame they had. What I thought was interesting in this interview, they were saying that this decision was going to have to be made eventually. There's over 800 Pokemon now. We haven't seen a fraction yet of Generation 8. And so they were saying, this decision had to happen. The time frame that we're given to create these games, and, the amount of work that's going to have to go into giving these, models, they said specifically they have to create new models. Even if they look very similar or the same in your perspective, they had to recreate them for this game. It's just not possible, and they'd rather go ahead and try to pull the trigger now and see if they can't work, updates in later with Pokemon Home to bring in characters down the line.
Well, the thing with Sun and Moon, it was built off, almost a decade of older games, even just for, sort of for that system, that like for even them to come out and say that we almost cut it there is a pretty big deal. But like at the same time, you could probably understand why they didn't, because they had a lot of this older, foundation basically that they could have built upon.
Yeah.
Where when you're coming into a completely new system like this, there's only so much we can do.
Right.
It sounds like that while, yes, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company are upset that they can't do it for this game, it sounds like that it's not necessarily a thing that it will always be like.
Yeah, I think the thing that that made me interested, it sounds, after reading this full interview, which you can see on Comicbook.com, Christian Hoffer wrote this up like a week ago, and then people picked it up, was they were saying that, this is a decision, it had to be made with everyone, that moving forward, future games may not have the full national dex, but they keep kind of relating to the fact, while there's no official updates available for Sword and Shield about how Pokemon Home will be used to transfer over older Pokemon, they say in this interview that Pokemon Home is meant to be a home for these, original Pokemon who maybe can't be brought over, and eventually maybe updates will be given that, in future games they're like, to start, you cannot get this.
Right.
But if you buy Pokemon Home, you can have access to the full national dex. They just can't confirm any of that now.
Right.
And I think, again, fans are upset that even if that is true, they think probably a lot of comparisons to be like, well, how is Pokemon Home no different from like a DLC pack that you have to buy for Pokemon in order to get all of the pocket monsters? So I think fans are upset that they're not just getting the all-for-one package, which they've gotten up until now.
It's funny, now that you mention it, like having Home be the national Pokedex
Yes.
moving forward kind of makes sense, right? So
Right.
like catch all the Pokemon you want, find all the Pokemon that you want. It all syncs up into home, and as stuff becomes available, then you can use stuff here and there. I think the only thing that makes me cautious about home is like I know that there were some instances where like or it was a bank where like if you moved it once, that was it. Like
Yeah.
you were SOL.
Yes.
And they haven't really said that one way or the other for home yet, but I think
No.
the idea and the hope is that
Yes.
it can be interchangeable depending on wherever they go.
Yeah.
But for me too, though, like I'm one of the things I loved about Sun and Moon were the regional evolutions or the regional versions of some of the classic Pokemon, right? So like your Executor and your Rattatas and whatnot. Like that to me, that was fun. I would love to see more of that as opposed to just having. I mean, I'm a huge I love my Geodudes.
Yeah.
And if Geodude's not in Sword and Shield, like that's fine. But if there's a regional Geodude and whatnot, I'm all in. That's totally but they can't do it for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be a thing that makes sense for the region and
Yeah, it's an interesting fact. I pulled a quote from one of the questions because it said, "Are there plans to add Pokemon not appearing in the Galar Pokedex after release of Sword and Shield through updates to Pokemon Home?" And Masuda, he's one of the producers, the main producers at Game Freak for Pokemon, said there have been no decisions made about any updates for Pokemon Home. Said we are thinking of allowing players to bring these Pokemon through Pokemon Home so they can take part in future titles. We will by no means ignore them. So I mean, it's clear that these people are fans too of the franchise. They understand and they hate it as much. But when there's over 800 Pokemons, when you bring in their evolution branches, that's well over 1,000. Like I mean, like 1,000 things that they have to just think of.
well,
And
just even when you look at that poll that we talked about just a couple weeks ago, right? Like the thing was like, does everyone have a favorite Pokemon?
Yeah.
And if you look at the numbers for the Pokemon that fell in the latter half of of that chart, like there are some Pokemon that people just don't give, a rat's ass about.
Yeah.
Like they just don't. And so like,
Yeah.
why would Game Freak bring those Pokemon? Why would they spend time on bringing a Pokemon over that maybe a couple hundred people care about?
Yeah. I think honestly the issue comes down to, an understanding, a misunderstanding or just not or an education of how these timelines work out on the on the business side for game development. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of pushback within the industry of like the insane hours worked. But I mean, there were plenty of people who were like, we don't understand what the complaint's about. You're getting a great game. But for especially the culture of Japan that has been so intensely damaged by overworking its population, that's not something they want to do with this title. And if they have to take baby steps to get to where they want to go with Pokemon Home, I mean, for me personally, I have no doubt in 6 months to a year after Sword and Shield comes out, the announcement will come. We have finished the national dex. You will have to likely have Pokemon Home to access it. But yeah, I think then that will then upset fans again. They'll be like, oh, great. Well, we have.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's great. We have all these Pokemon, but why do I have to pay such and such dollars to be able to access it? I should get this for free. Which, again, is a very different conversation from what we're having now. I think, though, that this, despite the more information we get that makes sense about why we're not getting the national dex, the way it was first presented to fans will never be forgiven, unfortunately, or forgotten. And I think the only thing that is going to lessen that anger is with time.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. People are going to go buy this game no matter what, right? Like, it's not like they're like there's going to be a mass boycott of this game.
I mean, I know some of it's super irate.
Enjoy it. Well, but that's the thing. Like, but they will have so much FOMO that they will just end up buying it anyway.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Buy the game, enjoy it for what it is. It looks great. It looks like it plays great. Hopefully, like I know Sword and Shield is going to be on demo at Comic-Con this week, so I'm hoping to get some time to play with it.
Oh yes.
There, and and just roll with it, right? It's not like if the National Pokedex isn't introduced in this game that the Pokemon, franchise is dead as we know it. Like more games are going to come out, evolutions of these games are going to come out, and it will just be fine.
Yeah, I think the knee-jerk reaction to just mass mob and panic definitely took this issue to a whole nother level that even, very prominent figures in the Pokemon fandom who've been around for decades, they're shocked by.
And to be fair, I am also do I wish we can get a National Pokedex? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it's a core fundamental, mechanism to the world of Pokemon. Am I not going to buy the game because of it? No.
Yeah.
It's, I will suck it up for a little bit and see how the game, I want to see how the game is and see how the game plays. And, if I fully enjoy the game and, miss out that I can't get, random Pokemon X, well, if that totally ruins my experience for the game, then there's some problems that I have.
Yeah. But if then we get the game and it's actually just fundamentally feels like it's hollowed, then that's
right. Then that's a conversation that we cannot have until the game comes out.
Exactly. So for right now, it's very much in a holding pattern of complaint, angry. Well, let's just wait. Complaint, angry. Okay, guys, it's not out yet. So once the game comes out,
I just want Game Freak and Nintendo and Pokemon Company to they should just not address it anymore.
No, they
should
shouldn't.
just focus on the cool new features that the game has, the more new features that they're going to roll out, the more new Pokemon they're going to roll out, and just the more attention you give it, the more validity you give it. Yeah. And so they should just stop.
Yeah, the more they can just focus on here's what you are going to get. Those conversations are much more popular. It's just it's a vocal minority who's upset that just keep bringing it up.
Release this night.
But you see, when you release, images of, wedding cake Pokemon, the internet loses its mind. Right. So they know that they'll be okay. It's just getting through this rough patch.
All right, Pokemon fact of the week. We both know what it is. Normally, we like to have Christian just tell us, and we try to guess. But this week, we're not doing that. Megan and I both sort of do it. But I'm going to read it out loud. What Pokemon drains the bodily fluids from its victims for fun? It is the water type Gorbis.
Yes.
So Gorbis, for those who don't know, is a fish-looking Pokemon, pink, very skinny, has one of those long fish snouts.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a weird eel.
It kind of looks like a weird
with
eel.
Mosquito nose thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's straight up terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the Pokemon I thought would happen. So for anyone who's interested in the actual Pokedex reading, I copied it verbatim because I could not do it justice. Just trying to summarize it for you.
So, this is obviously, the Gorbis first showed up in Gen 3, so in Ruby and Sapphire.
Yes.
I'll let you go ahead and read the Pokedex entry.
So the first kind of Pokedex entry for its appearance said, although Gorbis is the very picture of elegance and beauty while swimming, it is also cruel. When it spots prey, this Pokemon inserts its thin mouth into the prey's body and drains the prey of its body fluids.
Which is terrible.
Legitimately would never go in the ocean again.
Okay, so here's the thing. That's the entry.
Yes.
In Sapphire.
Yes.
In Ruby.
Yes.
It has a different, much friendlier entry.
Please.
Gorbis lives in southern seas at extreme depths. Its body is built to withstand enormous pressure of water at incredible depths. Because of this Pokemon's body is unharmed by ordinary attacks. Totally fine.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
The Emerald entry for this one, Gorbis siphons the body fluids of its prey through its thin tubular mouth. Its light pink body color turns vivid when it finishes feeding. Another, like that one is almost as bad as a Sapphire.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
But then when you move to Diamond and Pearl, it lives at the bottom of the sea. In springtime, its pink body turns more vivid for some reason. Yes. We know why for some reason. Yes. Because if you played Emerald, it's because it sucks the life out of its prey.
Yes, but then my favorite is the last entry because it doesn't appear in Sun and Moon or anything. It says the Pokemon, it sucks bodily fluids out of its prey. The leftover meat sinks to the seafloor where it becomes food for other Pokemon. I'm horrified. Never entering the ocean again.
But like this thing, so that's the Ultra Moon one, but the Ultra Sun version is totally pleasant.
Yeah.
The color of its body changes with water temperature. The coloration of Gorbis in Alola is almost blindingly vivid.
Yes.
So now it makes me want to go through and read more of these Pokedex entries to see if there is one version of every game that is more kid-friendly, maybe?
Yeah.
There's like one that's like sunshine and rainbows and one that is just pure nightmare.
Yeah, like straight nightmare fuel. Like if you're scared of Jaws, nah. I'd rather deal with Jaws than a horde of these Gorbuses coming after me. Like that's, excuse me, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, it's funny. Even the entry in Y is its swimming form is exquisitely elegant. With its thin mouth, it feeds on seaweed that grows between rocks. Liars. Straight
up liars. Unless seaweed is a euphemism for seahorsey or something like that. A horsey? No. It is. This is messed up. This is Lovecraftian nightmare.
Well, so that's the thing that I want to, like, as we sort of move forward in these, like, we need to keep track of which games are darker than the rest, because I just thought it was so interesting that there was a totally like sort of safe version in one game in the same generation, and an unsafe, like not safe, but just like a scarier version.
Yeah, like legitimately, if I was Ash, I would not go in the ocean. I would not go there. I don't care if Lapras wants to take me on a ride. We're not going there. Those things are waiting for me.
Yep, basically.
I can't do it. So if you ever want to have just nightmare fuel, Gorbis, which now that name makes way more sense.
Way more sense.
I was like, why does this Pokemon have such a creepy name? Like, it's such a cute Pokemon. Yeah, it's a Lovecraftian Cholula nightmare. So, anyways.
With that, if you want to listen to other Pokemon facts,
yes,
why don't you check out our library? We've got a bunch, we're at episode 12 now. I had to double check my card just to make sure. There are 11 more to go, and these facts will make you the life of any party you go to.
Yes.
Weddings, I almost said funerals, but you really probably shouldn't pull these out on funerals.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're like in my family. Like my family, we just eat and drink when someone dies, but that's usually after we do the whole funeral.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if you're at a funeral and the deceased happens to have all of their body fluids sucked out of them, maybe don't mention Gorbis.
Good Lord.
Just saying. And for that fun fact, continue.
Jesus. If you're going back and you decide, hey, I like this show. This show is fun. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button over and over. Oh, just hit it once. You don't have to hit it over and over again. Hit it once, then like copy the link of wherever you found it. Send it to like a bunch of your friends. Send it to your Pokemon Go player friends. Send it to your anime friends. Send it to anyone who likes Pokemon. This is a show for everyone and a show for them. Like we said, every Thursday new episodes come out. We are going to be at Comic-Con, and we will see what other Pokemon stuff's going to come out at the show. We're definitely going to check out the Detective Pikachu activation. I almost forgot the word again. and see what else is there. And we will bring all of that back next week for you folks. Christian should be back, hopefully, unless his training goes for months and months.
He's absconded. Much like Ash, he just went on his own Pokemon adventure.
That's it. That's actually what really happened.
And we will see him in never, because he's never coming back home.
Every once in a while, we read your listener reviews. If you give us a 5-star review on iTunes and we read it, we will send a Comicbook.com shirt your way in the mail for free. All you have to do is just leave us that review. We love reading the reviews. We like to save some up for a little while and then read a whole bunch. So if we don't, we're not going to read any this week, but we'll probably read a couple next week.
Yes.
And yeah, that's about it. All we have today. I'm looking forward to Comic-Con. It's going to be fun. I miss Christian this week, but it's...
Detective Pikachu has been
He's been very chatty. Very, very chatty.
Very chatty. I mean, clearly he got a little mouthy when we were talking about Sword and Shield. He clearly has some opinions. If you couldn't hear it, just hit us up online. We'll tell you what he said.
Exactly what he said.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we got for it this week. We'll catch you guys next week.